It looks like it's 6 o'clock, so let's start our meeting. Call to order, roll call.
McKnight.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Roa.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Kinder.
Here. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've got public comment on agenda items. Krista Gear, zoning.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here as the Executive Director of Active Aging. We have our building located at 1034 Park Avenue, and also as an advocate for older adults. I've had an opportunity to review the proposed zoning ordinance, and I just wanted to share some thoughts with you. Active Aging is the designated area agency on aging for Crawford County. It's our responsibility to educate, advocate, and provide services for individuals in our county who are over the age of 60. The funding we receive to meet these goals is provided through the lottery fund, and it's remained largely stagnant for the last decade. In anticipation of funding challenges, my predecessors, as well as boards of directors, previous boards of directors, advisory councils work together to create our Active Aging Foundation. Our foundation has, since the late 1980s, worked to raise money through various means to offset the gaps in our funding that we can't meet the needs of older adults without. Part of these funds are raised by offering the community center of Crawford County as a rental space for meetings and social gatherings. Occasionally, these social gatherings extend into late evening or require early morning activities. Under the proposed zoning ordinance, our hours of operation within our own building will be limited to between the hours of 7 a.m. and midnight. This restriction would impact various rental activities, including Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast, Leadership Meatville classes, and other family events, thereby affecting our ability to raise funds and provide services to older adults. This loss of revenue will require an immediate reduction in services. That's a reduction our older adults do not deserve and cannot absorb. Over the years that we've provided rental space, we've never had an incident where the Meadville City Police have been called because of complaints about noise or the ability of our neighbors to enjoy their own homes or businesses. We have staff in the building during every rental to ensure that those issues don't arise. This business is only a small portion of our overall operations. The bulk of our building is space for staff, providing services under the purview of the Area Agency on Aging, as well as space for the consumers that utilize those services. Our services were identified as life-sustaining, essential services during the COVID-19 pandemic. It seems an arbitrary and punitive overreach to establish limits to our hours of operation inside a building utilized to provide such important services in our community, especially when such operations have no negative impact on the surrounding establishments. In 2019, we completed a $1.3 million renovation to our building, and that made it, in my opinion, one of the nicest buildings on Park Avenue. But when you read the proposed zoning ordinances, the changes outside of our building might actually be in violation of several of those. And none of those negatively impact the aesthetics, the surrounding area, or the accessibility. We specifically created an outdoor space with comfortable seating for use by the public without any time restriction. Also, apparently in violation of the proposed ordinance limiting the use of our outdoor space to the hours between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. Had these ordinances been in effect during the planning phase of our project, I would have had to seriously consider the cost versus the benefit of renovating within the city or building outside of it. In my professional capacity, it has been my experience that one of the most desirable outcomes for older adults and persons with disabilities is to remain in their own home and in their own community for the duration of their lives. I'm certain that's not a concept that would seem all that foreign to any of us. What might not be as easily recognized is the accommodations and associated costs to meet those goals. Most two-story homes have bedrooms and primary bathrooms on the second floor. As we age, our ability to access the second floor safely becomes a greater concern. It's quite costly and sometimes difficult or even impossible to modify a two-story home to meet those challenges. Thus, the benefit of having the ability to have a one-story home, regardless of the area. Requiring front and backyards to be the size of average buildings on the block does not consider the need for a ramp to enter or exit the home for someone unable to navigate stairs. The lot requirements for garage placement behind the home also raises questions regarding the safety of older adults with disabilities. So imagine being confined to a wheelchair. Now look at the general building typology, thank you, for a single family residence on page 14. The drawing for the corner lot home gives the appearance that a ramp in the front would not be possible due to the proximity to the public right-of-way. The only option would be to place a ramp out of the rear exit, meaning you would have to create an additional expense of building an appropriate surface to maneuver your wheelchair the entire way around to the front of the garage. The interior lot view leaves you in much the same position, although you can have a straight access to the garage. Now imagine doing this in the middle of winter, alone. While the authors of the recommended changes may not have had to entertain these thoughts, many potential and current taxpayers within the city limits do. Our population is aging. Families are leaving the area, meaning those who are aging are doing so primarily alone. Alone and on a limited income, with no means to adjust or influence that income, leaving them at a substantial disadvantage to absorb those kind of costs and still remain in their homes. Is that the kind of Meadville we imagine? In addition, the parking requirements for businesses as written would bring about challenges related to accessibility for many of our fellow citizens, impacting sustainability of the affected businesses. Our building is surrounded by streets and an alley. Our front lot is the safest means for our consumers to enter and exit without having to cross a busy street. These zoning changes would appear to indicate that that's not going to be allowed in the future either. I have ethical concerns surrounding these proposed changes and share the legal concerns expressed by Marcia Yowie in her previous correspondence with the council. Participatory government should not exclude the voices of dissent or the marginalized. Unfortunately, voices of older adults and those with physical disabilities are often marginalized. I'm certain this council would never do that intentionally, and that's why I felt it was necessary to bring it to your attention. So while I'm confident of the positive intentions of these extensive zoning ordinances, I think the practical application will raise significant issues, negatively affecting the residents of the city of Meadville. It's not a bad thing to want our city to look nice and be inviting. We simply cannot achieve those goals at the expense of anyone who currently calls Meadville home or anyone who may wish to do so in the future. I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. I know I was long-winded, so I do have it in writing if you would like that. Thank you.
Krista, could we, maybe we can follow up later, but right, we're looking at a few months of public input sessions that we're going to schedule, and
Okay,
it'd be great
you know where to
to
find me.
partner with Active Aging.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Krista, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, I have John Walton, Climate Plan.
Hi, quite a few of you know me already. With the climate plan, I am glad to see that you guys are discussing that because that is an issue that everybody needs to be involved in worldwide. My biggest thing, I took the survey this morning, I have some issues like down the road because I know I'm kind of late into this, but I've been busy with a growing business and a new nonprofit. But like apple trees on the streets or fruit trees on the streets, is the city's going to cover the insurance for damaged vehicles, because if you've grown up on a farm, you know apples fall from trees, they rot on the ground. I mean, where there's other options such as native trees that are also pollinators. I emailed Gretchen today about a possible discussion on pollinators and their effect on climate change. And also, looking at the planning team, to me, it looks like Allegheny College is planning the city's climate plan. Honestly, I mean, almost everybody on here is Allegheny College or Allegheny College graduate. And there are other people in the community that have expertise in like urban farming and pollinators, and Penn State Extension has plenty of staff available that would probably love to sit on the planning committee that, have expertise in other areas involved with climate change. It's just, because honestly, looking at this as anybody, there's really no representation of the average person, and unfortunately in this town, sometimes if you're not wearing a three-piece suit, you get overlooked that you're a local yokel. But there are people in this town that have quite a bit of knowledge and expertise and experience, that didn't graduate from Allegheny College, but have graduated from other colleges. And that's pretty much it. I'm just, like I said, I'm happy you guys are working on it. I know one issue I have with that too is this is gonna be a multi-year plan. You can't do climate change in one day, 1 year. And some things like residential furnaces, Mr. Royal can probably attest to this. If you have to replace a furnace in a house, you're gonna have a fuel efficient furnace. You almost can't buy anything less than 90% efficiency anymore.
Right on.
Because even my house has a 95% efficient furnace in it. So some of that stuff may not necessarily need to be put into an ordinance or code, just because it's just naturally happening. But I feel there's other issues such as dealing with the budget that are a little bit more important right now this year, because you're talking not only citizens spending millions of dollars over the years, but the city spending millions of dollars over the years for climate change. And because none of this comes free. And I know there are grants and stuff out there for it, but that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, I am happy you guys are working on it, and I know this is gonna change a lot over time, with input and new technologies coming out and all kinds of stuff, but I am happy that you are working on it, because it's one of those things dear to my heart. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, oath of office. Can I have a motion to concur with the city manager's appointment of Nash Ortley, full-time police patrolman?
So moved. Second.
All right, discussion? Is that what I do? Do I still? It's just on here. So like, discuss that. And then, like, roll call first and then
No, Nash will come up.
Okay,
Oath of office and then roll call.
okay, got it. Sorry, Nash, this is my first time.
So Chief Todden is going to give a little bit of an introduction for Nash.
So I'd like to introduce Nash Ortley. He went to high school in Cochranton, where he played basketball and volleyball. After high school, he attended Edinburgh University and graduated with an associate's degree in criminal justice. In July of 2021, he attended the Mercyhurst Police Academy. He graduated, I believe, in December. In his free time, he enjoys hunting, fishing, kayaking, golfing with his friends, and he's really looking forward to starting a career with our department and serving our community. So, Nash Ortley.
All right, I need to walk through it a little bit, please. So your, Nash can raise his right hand. Nash, please raise your right hand. And then I apologize, this is the first.
Sentence by sentence, and he'll repeat.
Okay. Repeat after me. I, Nash Ortley, solemnly swear and affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
I, Nash Ortley, solemnly swear and affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Sign it.
Oh,
Not that one,
that one.
this one.
That one.
So Nash, you'll have to sign here.
Okay, all right. And Nash, welcome to the Regional Police Department.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you again. Thank you.
Nash got all the little Caesars, right?
Yes.
He did.
Good. Glad
He
to
did quite a
hear.
bit of running for us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for bearing with us. And congratulations.
Now you can have a roll call.
Oh, roll call.
McKnight.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.
All right, notice of executive session meetings.
Your Honor, an executive session was held on May 4th, 2022 to discuss real estate and personnel. An executive session was also held today, May 18th, prior to the meeting to discuss personnel.
Approval of minutes, May 4th, 2022. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
McKnight.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Communications.
Your Honor, we received several communications on the climate action plan. All total, we received 69. Of those, 15 listed their address so we could confirm they were residents. 11 listed their place of business and could confirm they were taxpayers. 3 of them did admit that they were not city residents. We also received another communication from the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry. They write to say that they believe that economic growth and environmental stewardship are mutually compatible, and they've advocated on all levels of government for balanced and thoughtful policies that ensures continued progress in environmental goals. They encourage that the city's plan continues to empower citizens and businesses to make use of energy resources that make the best sense for them, noting that for certain types of facilities, that could be solar, while others might be natural gas. They stated that building codes that require electrification or prohibit access to natural gas may result in unintended consequences, such as higher construction and operational costs. They also note that building codes that prohibit use of natural gas or that in effect require electrification raise the cost of a new home by as much as $15,000, and similarly could raise a single family home retrofit upwards of $50,000. They encourage the city to adopt a plan that is technology neutral and continues to provide for consumer choice on energy.
Katie, quickly, I apologize. Could you let me know how many were for the climate action plan and how many were not?
I did not count that because we could not verify that they were all city residents. I can say that the 15 with addresses, I believe 13 were in favor and all 11 were in favor.
Manager's report.
So Gary is going to go over the comprehensive zoning update. Gary.
This will be the last and probably least exciting PowerPoint of the zoning series. This will focus on, there were 2 components to the project. The first was to update the zoning ordinance in a comprehensive way. The second one was to incorporate select recommendations from the Mine-Meadville plan into the city's comprehensive plan, essentially as a right into some other, the rest of the requirements that we had. The existing comprehensive plan dates to 2013, so this will serve as an update to the comprehensive plan as well as a rewrite of the zoning ordinance. So tonight I'll just go through, it'll be very quick, the recommendations from Mine-Meadville. There are many from Mine-Meadville that essentially the planning committee thought they didn't really belong in a comprehensive plan, so those were excluded from this. It is a little bit fluid and subjective, so what was brought into here was basically the expertise of the planning consultant we had on it to say, yeah, we should include these ones. So I'll just go ahead and go through those. The first one is establish town hall meetings through the Mine-Meadville process. Councilwoman Vogel could probably speak better to this than I could, but there are regular town hall meetings that involve community members, and one of the recommendations was to try to continue those, essentially on a quarterly basis, on various topics that might be important to people on a to be determined basis. That's the first one. The second one is, of course, we're already working on is to change the zoning ordinance. Essentially, the thrust from Mine-Meadville is to include provisions that will allow urban farming, community gardens, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, we're already working on that. The third is establish a welcome committee. Essentially, when people come in, they want to be able to have some kind of central committee that might be able to help people out. They have neighborhood captains, essentially, that would take the lead when new people come into town and get them some information, some welcome packets that has just general city information. The next one, spotlight community cleanups. There have been, over time, there have been several times, I think Thankful Thursdays and some other events that we've had around town, some groups were cleaning up town. And this basically just is that we want to recognize those events as they come up and those people that get those taken care of. Next, create a block party toolkit. This goes toward, you'll remember during the discussion of the form-based zoning, there was a feel among a lot of the people in Miami-Ville that they liked the feel of their neighborhoods. They liked what it was like, and they wanted to bring the neighborhood feel back. They wanted to get people to come together in the neighborhoods. And this basically would put together a toolkit for someone to take and kind of ready-made materials such as, information on permits, any permits that might be required, resources, life-size lawn games, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of a ready-made kit for people who might want to have a block party with their neighbors. The next one is essentially creating a local brand, whatever that looks like, and this is really tasked to the Meadville Independent Business Alliance and the Redevelopment Authority to maybe come up with a brand. What is Meadville about? Essentially try to market that to the outside world, if you will. Next one is implement participatory budgeting. This would allow basically have council set aside a small portion of the budget that would be basic, essentially voted on essentially by the people themselves to try to pick certain small projects out of the city budget that they directly participate in, as opposed to having council make those decisions for them. So in the plan itself, it says typically the municipality allocates a small part of the total budget to projects selected for this, ranging from less than 1% to 20% of the city budget. So that's participatory budgeting. Next one, host a local vendor fair. This would be tasked in the Miami-Ville plan to the Chamber of Commerce. And essentially just having local vendors, bringing them together in a fair, showcasing what they do, what they sell, to increase awareness of what the local vendors and businesses have to offer. Next one, Environmental Council. We've talked about this over a few meetings now. And it's actually will continue to be discussed in the future. So we've already been talking about this, but basically it's some kind of body that advises council on environmental initiatives. More public benches, trash cans, and pet waste stations. That's pretty self-explanatory. This does task the beautification committee to maybe take that on as a fundraising effort, but basically just have more of those around town to try to keep things a little cleaner downtown, maybe bring some more people. The next one, establish a kayak and canoe rental on French Creek. Just having some place for people who might not have their own kayaks or canoes, if they wanted to take a trek down the creek, that they might have a place to go locally that's easy to get to, and also suggest that maybe there could be a shuttle system as well. This would task French Creek Valley Conservancy, DCNR, maybe the city to work together, maybe some kind of grant program. Not sure if it'd be volunteer run, for profit. It's kind of amorphous there at the moment, but that's that one. Next one, establish host and procedure for recreation equipment. Essentially, this one, the way that I would envision it is that maybe you might have at each city park. It's mainly to increase the use of city parks and green spaces. So maybe you would have at each park some small kiosk or station where you might be able to have some recreation equipment that people could use when they go to the park, and then they leave them there when they use it while they're there, and then leave it there for the people. Something like that. Maybe the Mark could help take that on, the recreation complex or the authority. Next, create a map of public parks. We actually do have that on our website already, so we've kind of taken care of that one. We have that map on our website. We also have printed copies of that available for people. But this is mainly just to increase awareness of what the parks are, how big they are, where they're located, so that people know if they're looking for a place to go. We'll have that for them. Sustain the Summer Parks Program. Actually, we're in the process of that, I believe, in the next couple of meetings, working with, at least for this year, with the YMCA and creating landscapes to have some summer parks programs, at least at Heidi Cooper. Just Heidi Cooper? Just at Heidi Cooper. For this year, we're going to be working with them, partnering with them on that, just to have some kind of parks program for the kids to go to, like we used to have 20 and 30 years ago, and 50 and 60 years ago when Tim was a kid. Continuing that is one of the recommendations that we put in the comp plan. And the last one is fairly unique. It's really mainly to try to increase the number of bus stops in town for CATA, the Crawford Area Transportation Authority. And this would be a partnership, but basically to put together some students from the VOTEC and CATA together to put together some, maybe some, I'll call it decorations for the bus shelters among the tool shops and the students to have some kind of unique look to the bus stops, but also in order to increase the number we have. I don't know if there's anything else you'd want to add to that. That one's fairly unique.
I'd love to hear you try to explain this stuff. It's fun.
Okay. So that's pretty much, those are the recommendations from the plan that the planning committee thought should be included in the comprehensive plan. So those would be sprinkled throughout the plan itself, the existing plan, and incorporated into it as if we're originally part of the plan. So that's what I have for that. So that was my last formal presentation. Moving forward in June, we're going to have public outreach sessions where we're going to host them here. I think we're going to have 4 of them in June. We're going to have those on our website, but for right now, if anyone's interested, June 10th from 11:30 to 1:30, June 16th, that's a Thursday, from 5:30 to 7:30, June 25th, which is a Saturday, from 11:30 to 1:30, and June 29th.
Just killing us.
You're going too fast.
Can you,
where will this be, these?
In this room.
June 10th.
No, I mean, like, where will the schedule be, so people can?
Sorry. Katie, it'll be on the website somewhere. She'll also put out a press release, have some information on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm assuming Mike might put something in the paper eventually if we talk to him about it.
That's what I'm like. Right? Real quick, June, on the spot there.
Say it
So,
one more time.
Again,
One more
it's
time, we got
June
it.
10th from 11:30 to 1:30. June 16th from 5:30 to 7:30. June 25th from 11:30 to 1:30. And June 29th from 5:30 to 7:30.
And these are like open house style?
Open house style, we'll have different stations around, and we'll do our best to mingle and answer questions. We'll have the maps, larger maps like the one on the wall behind you. Lots of information from the PowerPoints. We'll actually probably have a condensed version of that PowerPoint running on the TV. And then we'll just do our best to answer questions for people, anything they might have. It is as proposed. It's not with any changes that the council, I assume, is going to make at some point. But it is as proposed, and then after that's done, then in July, we'll come back to council with some comments from the public that they might have. And of course, we'll continue to discuss concerns and questions that council, I'm sure, has. And then just go from there. So the proposed timeline is very tentative. It's all over the place. It really depends on, when is council comfortable with moving forward with it. That's what I had today.
I will just note, I don't think we have to spend a whole lot of time because we've got like a month plus to compile. But I'll just put it out there that there were a few items in the Miamiville Community Action Plan that I had sent along to Gary that I thought could maybe were appropriate to be included in the comp plan addendum. 24-hour community center, not that the city would run and own it, right, but like as a community development priority. And there's maybe movement on that front at the library, not 24-hour, but community center. Expansion of trauma-informed trainings, development of neighborhood hubs, again, not that we don't or operate, but as a community development priority, and potentially as a zoning ordinance consideration, and a youth advisory committee were the 4 that I thought were relevant that were included. And sorry, and another note too, the block party toolkit is drafted, so that's kind of ready, more or less. And I got an email today from Voodoo, they're doing a kayak rental in conjunction with Carried Away Outfitters, and they'll do like a shuttle, and it starts at Bicentennial Park. And is this news too?
Not carried away, but Voodoo is.
Okay. Well, Carried Away is doing it, but I think like the pickup point is Voodoo, and then you drop in at Bicentennial.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep, okay.
Anyway, it was in the email.
There was a lot of
So-
confused
Yeah.
looks up
Sorry.
here, like.
I think it's great. I think it's exciting. Sounds nice. So anyway,
I just want to comment how awesome this is, that this came out of Miami-Ville, and that was like totally people who live here, right, and spend money here, and like rent or own here, and they, you know, got together with this grant. And it made it here, right, to our desks, and we're talking about this stuff, and we are acting on it, and it's just exactly how participatory government works, right? So I just wanted to comment on it. Yeah. Too scary. Okay, sorry. Council subcommittee reports. This housing and economic development. I don't think we have much to report at this point. So I'm just gonna say we don't have anything to report. Community engagement.
yeah, the climate action plan falls under community engagement subcommittee. Appreciate Katie compiling and sharing the public input we received. I will say I did tally up, and we don't necessarily can't confirm where people live, but by my count, we received outreach from 64 people to council in support of the plan in its current form, and outreach from 2 people against it or with revisions. Maybe now add John to that list, so maybe 3. And yeah, just want to like call out what I saw happen, which is that we put this call out for community input and that we got it, right? And I think that should be noted. I think what we heard is overwhelming and fairly unanimous. Today was the deadline that we set for ourselves and for the public to submit input on the plan. At the June 1st meeting, which is our next meeting, that's when the plan is to be put to a vote. I hope that we listen to our constituents who took the time to respond to our request and make their voices heard. And I would also like to request that we include for a vote on the agenda for June 1st, both the discussion and vote of the climate action plan and the establishment of the environmental advisory council committee. I've asked Gary Elizio to weigh in about if we call it something else, what that might impact. So if we can put those 2 things on the agenda for next time, that'd be great.
All right, finance committee?
Nothing at this point.
No, okay. Old business? Authorities, boards, and commissions?
Your Honor, we did have applications close on May 11th. We did not receive enough to fill all of the vacancies, so we are extending that until the end of the month.
Okay.
And those are for which committees right now?
2 vacancies on Market Authority, 1 on Planning and Zoning Commission, and 1 on the Water Authority.
Okay, new business, resolution, award bid, and authorization of signatures.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville awarding the bid in the amount of $294,770 to Shields Asphalt Paving Incorporated for bituminous milling and paving of various streets as part of the city's capital paving program.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
So this is part of the city's capital paving projects. There are 5 streets as part of this. Chestnut from Alden to the end, Norman Alley, Meadow from Allegheny to Carroll, East Cherry from Liberty to Chancery, and Terrace from Spring to Glenwood.
This would happen this season?
Correct.
Does anybody have any questions? Roll call?
McKnight?
Aye.
Myers? Aye. Norewa?
Aye.
Vogel?
Okay.
Kinder?
Aye. Resolution, award bids, and authorize signatures.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville awarding the bid in the amount of $312,465 to Fuller Home Building Incorporated for roof upgrades to the DEP building.
Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Porter Consulting and Engineering put out the bids for this. They opened the bids on behalf of the city on May 10th. Fuller Construction was the lowest bid. Money for this project will come out of the DEP Reserve Fund.
Does anybody have any questions? It's great that Fuller's in town. Yeah, I'm sure we could do this more often.
Right. Roll call.
McKnight.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel. Kinder.
Aye. Resolution authorized signatures.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville authorizing signatures on a license agreement for outdoor seating between the City of Meadville and Chippers Pub.
Can I have a motion?
Motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion?
This agreement would permit Chippers to utilize the Market Street Alley for their outdoor seating. We've done this in years past. It's a $100 license agreement which Chippers has paid and provided their insurance. So nothing new from years previous.
Anyone have any questions?
It's not exclusive, right? Like, exclusive use for them, right? Because there's other uses in the alley.
They have the right to walk through.
Correct, yes, yeah.
Right to walk through, and I know sometimes like the neighboring other
Yep,
businesses.
I think
might
there's
set up
another
like that.
business that has some plans for the alley over the summer too. So the alley is not just exclusively for
Right,
Chippers.
it's like
Correct.
behind their
Yep.
building.
Correct.
Yep, yep. Okay. Roll call.
McKnight.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel.
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution authorized signatures, Crawford County Community Development Block Grant.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville authorizing signatures on a joint citizen participation plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program with Vernon Township, City of Titusville, and Crawford County.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
So this is a plan that we sign on to as the City of Meadville. We're on behalf of with the Crawford County to help with CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant Administration. This is a requirement, the Citizen Participation Plan is a requirement from the state that we have this in place. We sign on with the county's Citizen Participation Plan. Once all of the municipalities sign on to the plan, we'll have the plan available on the website so folks know how to participate in the CDBG discussions.
Okay. Questions?
It lays out, so basically it's like the county has kind of set the agenda for what the public hearings will look like
So
across
the-
the different communities.
The county doesn't necessarily set it, these are requirements set out by the state for the CDBG program of how the hearings will go.
So the agenda's been set, right? And so, we've had public hearing number 1.
Correct.
No one was there.
That's
We just don't need to do that, what's laid out for the first one? Or do we record a version of that and make it available later? Do we like try a do-over and invite people? Like what's the protocol for that?
We can put out some public outreach on if they want to participate. We typically don't do that kind of outreach.
We had a Facebook event up for it, and we did put a press release out, and we did put posts on the Facebook page and on the city's website, which is what our typical outreach is for just about anything.
I think we had 3 people. You.
That's right.
You. It's truly, yeah.
Yeah, which isn't atypical, like at RDA, like when RDA did it, that, I think that was pretty popular for us too. Just wonder, like, is there a way that people can still get the information that was like, would have been laid out?
We can put the PowerPoint
In-
on the website.
Okay.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Roll call?
McKnight.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Roa.
Aye.
Vogel.
Hi.
Kinder.
Aye. We did our public comment, so council member statements.
Mayor,
Yeah.
this is on non-agenda items. I don't know.
Yeah, we have the, I've got the sign up, that's it. Okay, so council member statements. Jim?
Yeah, I received not one, not two, but 3 phone calls informing me that I'd won $6.2 million in Publishers Clearinghouse. All I had to do is provide bank information. Obviously, I turned that into the police department. If you get a phone call like that, be advised it's a scam. They're trying to get your personal information, your financial information. So for the good of the order, if you get something like that, let people know. And if you're watching this on TV, don't even bother to respond. That's all.
Thanks, Jim. Gretchen? I don't have a statement. Mary?
Yeah, just want to remind people there's, 13 days of school left, but kids are already running out into the streets. They're excited about it being so close, so make sure you drive careful. And also watch out for the buses with their lights on. Even in town, we're having people run our lights, so pay attention, please.
Yeah, I think Jim, on the off chance it wasn't a scam, you could have fixed our budget problem. So you should give your bank account info next time, just in case. Next time, get 3 a day. Anyway, no easy solutions, that's just a joke. Yeah, no, I want to echo what the mayor brought up in terms of this kind of full circle, right? Like what my need bill and kind of what it means to be looking at this now as part of an addendum to the community action plan, right? That process was several years long, several years of listening to thousands of residents and hearing what's important to them, what they love about Meadville, what keeps them here. And it's very cool to see it now, kind of being baked into the way that we do business and the priorities that we're setting for ourselves as a city. It's on that note, I guess I will say, we did get a grant to the library, sorry city, but the library will be a fiscal sponsor for a kind of my Meadville recap event. So we'll just kind of get a chance to kind of go through some of those action plan items and see where things stand, what's happened since 2018, and where things are and where we kind of want to go from here. And so doing that in partnership with the library, they're actually taking the lead on that. That's really exciting. And yeah, it'll be nice, I think, to kind of take stock after these messy few years, where the world's gone real topsy-turvy on us. So yeah, that'll be great. I also want to thank everybody. We got, like I said, my email is blowing up with all the input on the climate action plan, so I really do appreciate the folks that reached out to us to make their voices heard on that, and for the folks who provided some input. And I'm glad that we can move forward on that front and then keep doing the work that we need to do, that we set out to do at the beginning of the year, participatory budgeting on American Rescue Plan Act funds, addressing some of the budget, right? That's coming up. That season is looming. So, getting our wits about us soon is important. So, gotta get through some of this stuff. Thanks.
First, as Larry just reminded me, I want to thank everybody that was involved with our city cleanup, right? Like, that was awesome, and it's cool to have those opportunities to be able to get rid of some of the stuff that you've accumulated, and for a small fee, be able to take it over, and sometimes it's difficult to do that, right? Like, and have big things outside, and then, so I think that's great, and everybody that helped, and everybody that pitched in, because there's a lot of volunteers and stuff like that. Also, I just wanted to mention that there are a lot of people that live in the city, and there is a difference between, like, Allegheny College as an entity and the people who work there, right? There are people who live and work at Allegheny College, but they live in our community and they own homes and they pay their taxes, and so there is a difference there. And the people who graduated from there, I also want to say, they have chosen to live here, along with people from Edinburgh and people from Slippery Rock and people from everywhere, right? Like,
I'm not sure where everybody graduated, but Teal, right? You guys all graduated from one place.
Shut up, your alma mater.
And so I just want to make sure there's a differentiation there, right? Like that there are people in our community that happen to graduate from different colleges. It doesn't mean they're part of an entity, right? There is a college that is a building in a physical place, but there are people who live here and pay their taxes here and deserve a voice also. But I also want to say, anybody that wants to have a voice and no matter where you graduated, or if you didn't, or if you just graduated high school, or if you didn't, we are happy to have volunteers and your input, and your voice is as important as anyone else's, regardless of your age and your gender or anything. I do want to thank Krista again for mentioning our older citizens because they are struggling, and thank again Active Aging for the good work that they do. They helped my mother immensely, right? And we appreciate them and the services that they provide. So at that, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roa,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.